Ratio word problems. Example 1. The Springfield basketball team won 10 out of the 30 games it played. What is the ratio of games won as compared to how many were played? Well, step 1 is to write the ratio as we know. We know that there were 10 games that were won. And we also know that 30 games were played. So we've done that part. Now all we need to do is reduce it. So to reduce, we know that a 0 and a 0, very simple, that reduces to 1 over 3. So 1 game was won for every 3 games that were played. We can write that as, of course, as a fraction, 1 out of 3, or 1 colon 3, or 1, 2, 3, or 1 out of every 3 games played. Example 2. The ratios of the lengths of the sides of this triangle is represented by 2 to 3 to 4. Okay, one fact we know is that the perimeter of this triangle is 54 inches. So what we're going to do is determine the length of each side. Well, we know we're going to represent the sides as 2x plus 3x plus 4x is equal to 54. Let us combine our terms. 2x plus 3x is 5x. 5x plus 4x is 9x. So 9x is equal to 54. Does that look familiar? It's an equation. Okay, let's isolate the variable. In this case, it is x. And we do that by dividing both sides of our equation by 9. Divide this by 9 and divide that by 9. So we're left with x. Our 9's cancel out. X is equal to 54 divided by 9 is 6. So x is equal to 6. Let's plug in what we know. 2x, x being 6. We know the length of this side would be 12. To 3x, x being 6. To 18. 4x, x being 6. To 24. To check our solution, all we need to do is add all 3 lengths. We have 12 plus 18 plus 24. And let us add 10, 14. 4, carry the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 54. And we can see that it matches up. So proportionally, the lengths are, again, 2, 3, and 4. And you can see where this proportionally is the same. 12, 18, 24. 6 times 2 is 12. 3 times 6 is 18. 4 times 6 is 24. A proportional ratio.
You're the coach of the gold basketball team. Your team won 6 out of the 8 games played. What is the ratio of games lost to the games played? Let's do the math. First of all, what is the question? The question is, what is the ratio of games lost to games played? That's the question. So let's make a ratio out of that. Games lost to games played. So how many games are lost? Let's look at the first part. You're the coach of the gold basketball team. Your team won 6 out of the 8 games played. So they played 8, they won 6, so they lost 2. So 2 games were lost and 8 games were played. So what is the ratio? The ratio equals 2 out of 8. In other words, they lost 2 games out of 8, or equals 1/4. Out of every 4 games they played, they lost 1, or that would equal 25%. They lost 25% of the games they played. Let's look at the second question. what is the ratio of games lost to games played if your team wins the next 2 games? So they still lost only 2, so it'll be 2, and now they play 10. That will equal 1/5. So out of every 5 games they lost 1 equals 20%. 1/5 equals 20%. They lost 20% of the game. Let's take a look at history and look at a ratio problem. This is a reenactment of the Civil War where the southern and northern states in America between 1861 and 1865 fought against each other. Gettysburg is in Pennsylvania, 30 miles south of the state capital of Harrisburg and 9 miles north of the border of Maryland, which historically is known as the Mason-Dixon line and divided the North from the South. This is the flag for the North, the Union flag, and this is the flag for the South. In July of 1863, at the Battle of Gettysburg, 165,000 soldiers fought one another for 3 days. Of these soldiers, 51,000 were wounded, captured, or killed. It was the costliest battle of the Civil War. It was during that war in 1863 that President Abraham Lincoln signed the Declaration of Independence, making all slaves free. The question: what is the ratio of soldiers who were either wounded, captured, or killed during the Battle of Gettysburg? At the Battle of Gettysburg, the soldiers for North and South were 165,000. If you can imagine, that's a lot of people fighting there. And wounded, captured, or killed, 51,000, if you can imagine, at that battle. And the question, what is the ratio of soldiers who were either wounded, captured, or killed? So let's go to the calculator here, and we have to divide 165,000 divided by 51,000 equals 3.2352, so it's 3.24. So it's 1 to 3.24, and that would be about, if it was 2.5, it would be 25 100ths. That equals 1/4. So it'd be 1 to 3 1/4. Or nearly 1 out of every 3. A little more than 1 out of every 3, but it's 1 out of 3 1/4. So if you can imagine, one soldier here, another soldier here, and another soldier here, and if a quarter went over here, that's really the amount. But out of these 3, one of them would have been either wounded, captured, or killed. It was a slaughter at this Battle of Gettysburg.
Please pause the video now and complete the problems in your workbook. When finished, press play, and we'll continue with the next lesson.